Have you ever seen an ape turn into a human being?
Once again, humans are apes in the same way that a duck is a bird.
This is Aron Ra. He had a debate with this guy right here, which is Jesse Lee Peterson. Now, I talked about this the other day. This is part 2. If you haven't seen the other, don't sweat it. This stands independently of the rest. But in the last one, the debate was at the beginning, and it was pretty calm and tame. They were just establishing information, talking about Aron Ra's life, how he came to the point that he came to as an atheist. In this part, it is about to go completely off the rails. This is the part in which Aron Ra is going to grill the dude on evolution, and this guy is just going to pretend that he doesn't understand nonstop. So I figure we'll give it a listen. I think we're at 27 minutes in. Nothing important has happened. You haven't missed anything super relevant. It's just talking about how he came to be an atheist. But yeah, let's listen to it, see what he has to say. It's about to get heated in a second. And while we do, we're going to play Mario Maker 2. You know, before we actually do watch the debate, though, let me just, if you don't know who Jesse Lee Peterson is, he's got a YouTube channel with somewhere around 400,000 subbies on it, and he's a white supremacist. I know, that's a tall claim, right? Listen to what he says here. This clip is from 2022, June 2022.
I used to think that when they used that word, white supremacy, it was a negative word, but now I realize what they're thinking is that, and it's true, by the way, that white men are smarter than them, superior to them, and instead of learning, oh, hey, how did you become so superior, they want to destroy it so that they won't be reminded how dumb they are. And so they're dumbing everybody and everything down rather than coming up to the level of white supremacy.
That's Jesse Lee Peterson. That's what he believes. He is a white supremacist. It is disturbing and disgusting and bizarre simultaneously. Leading up to this conversation, Aron Ra is talking about the fact that not knowing something doesn't mean that you can just insert an answer blindly, that you have no reason to believe in the first place. And he gets on the subject of epilepsy. He points out that I think Socrates, maybe some ancient Greeks, realized that epilepsy was not actually demon possession. It was something else. So listen from here.
Like with epilepsy, for example. I mean, Socrates wrote that people believed that epilepsy was demonic possession. And he already knew that that was wrong, that there had to be a better explanation than that. And so when we didn't know about how the brain functions, well, we didn't know your neuropathy or any of that, that did not mean that our lack of understanding in that meant that God did it. It didn't mean that it was supernatural, that the supernatural explanation was wrong then, even before we knew what the real explanation was. And so it has always been that way. Every time we find anytime we find anything to be, the natural explanation for anything, or when we find the explanation for anything, it always turns out to be natural. It's never supernatural. It's never magical.
It has never been supernatural. The answers haven't been. For events that are actually verifiable that they took place, the answer has never been supernatural when we found it. There has always been an explanation.
Mysticism has zero credence. Prayers don't work. It's been a complete failing game.
Amazing. What are you? So is your wife an atheist now?
Yes.
And are you still an atheist?
Yes.
You're not a Satanist?
I am a Satanist in the sense that I paid $25 for a membership to the Satanic Temple. Technically, that makes me a Satanist.
So why would you become a Satanist if you don't believe that Satan exists?
Because Satanists don't believe that Satan exists.
What do they believe? Well, why do they call themselves Satan then?
The Church of Satan, established in 1966 by Anton LaVey, if you look up their website, they have a listing of beliefs wherein they say pretty explicitly that they do not believe in an actual devil, that they follow the science.
Uh-oh, this is getting all glitchy on me. I'm going to switch stream. Oh, wow, it's just straight up glitchy. Okay, I didn't know that before. All right, well, we're just going to have to deal with the glitchiness, I guess. Sorry, guys.
published in 1966 by Anton LaVey. If you look up their website, they have a listing of beliefs wherein they say pretty explicitly that they do not believe in an actual devil, that they follow the science. And if you look up the Satanic Temple FAQ, the FAQ, the Satanic Temple established in 2013 also says that they don't believe in a literal Satan and an actual Satan. Satan is a symbolic character, much like Mother Nature or Uncle Sam, something like that. Excuse the dog, please.
I'm sure the guy has a green screen in the background, but wow, look at the dingy background there. That's crazy. It's certainly not his house. I don't think that's his house. Yeah, look at it. Look at his background. I mean, that's most definitely a green screen, right? All right, let's keep listening here.
Excuse the dog, please.
Is the dog an atheist as well?
Well, if the dog has not been convinced to believe in supernatural things for no good reason, then he doesn't. So, my position is that we are born atheist until somebody lies to us.
Amazing. And so, I'm sorry, you said your wife is not or is an atheist?
She is an atheist.
She is an atheist. Is she happier now as an atheist than she was when she was a Christian?
Absolutely, yes.
I get the impression that this guy is not giving enough pushback according to his audience, and his audience is probably getting a little angry over it. But I don't know. I guess we'll see. I mean, let's just take a look at the comments in the video real quick. I had lots of fun at the end with Aron's face was comedy gold. As usual, Aron killed it. Okay, got a whole bunch of Aron fans here. I'm black and slow, probably the best summary of this entire exchange. Well, I don't know. He probably hasn't gotten to that point yet, but he calls himself black and slow. Jesse Lee Peterson does. He says, I'm black and slow. I don't understand, so break it down for me. Saying that is racist. What he's doing is encouraging people or encouraging a mindset to view black people as inferior because of their race. Simply because they're black. They are unintelligent because they are black. That's what that's all about. That's what that's for. And it's wrong. I just can't accept it when he says that. He's not slow because he's black. He may be slow for other reasons. I mean, who knows? But it's just wrong the way that he frames everything. Just disgusting and wrong.
Really?
Though that's not relevant necessarily. I mean, I forget who the poet was. George Bernard Shaw said something along the lines of whether a believer is happier than a skeptic is no more to the point than why a drunk person is happier than a sober one.
No. Tell me again, why did you join an atheist club? Because it sounds like you don't believe in joining. Why would you left the Christian church, which was a joining, but you joined an atheist church.
I didn't join an atheist church.
You said you became a member, right?
I bought a membership to the Satanic Temple.
Why?
Yes.
Why?
But I also bought. I have ordinations at the Universal Life Church, at the Church of the Subgenius, at the Church of the Latter Day Dude, and have also supported the Church of the. They're all joke churches.
So what was the purpose of you buying memberships there? Why did you buy membership with those?
Because
groups?
they're all activists as well.
And what type of activists?
Yeah. So I mean, I'm on the board of directors for American Atheists. And
oh, is he still? I didn't realize he was still on the board for that. That's cool. I knew that he previously was because my wife worked at American Atheists. That's interesting.
That organization is all about defense of the First Amendment, which Christian nationalists are uniformly against.
This guy is definitely a Christian nationalist and a white supremacist both. It's like really, really disturbing. The bizarre combination of things that this guy works for. It's just wrong, man.
So the freedom of religion, where Congress shall make no law establishing a religion, they want to establish a religion. And Congress shall not prohibit the free exercise of religion, but Christian nationalism wants to prohibit the practice of other religions. And then there's also the other, everything in the First Amendment is the Christian nationalists are against: the free speech, the freedom to assemble, all
Yeah, 100% agree on that one. Yep.
of it. And so atheist activists, the American atheists, for example, are trying our best to defend the First Amendment. And
You don't even realize how much American Atheists does for the movement. Like, holy shit, dude. They do so much good for the movement. They put in so much time and work. It's crazy. I had no idea until my wife worked there as an intern.
the Satanic Temple proved to be very valuable allies in that.
I noticed that the atheist people, the satanic people, are jealous of the Christians, and they want to.
Excuse me?
Yeah, wherever the Christians.
Would you say that doctors
Christians
are jealous of cancer patients?
wherever the Christians go and establish themselves.
That's an interesting one. Would you say doctors are jealous of cancer patients? That's funny. I do have to say this. Christianity, generally speaking, hang on. Sorry, my microphone stand is messed up. Got to fix it. Christianity, generally speaking, I'm not talking evangelical movement, but Christianity as a whole, I don't have a problem with. And as a matter of fact, I remember a time when I believed that I would survive, death, basically. I would come out the other side. I remember my dad was on his deathbed one time when I was a teenager, and I was worried about it. And I read this book from Jehovah's Witnesses and was no longer worried. I was comfortable with it. I was ready for my dad to go and knew I would see him again or whatever other thing, That's what religion has to offer. That's what Christianity has to offer that I can see as valuable. Unfortunately, it's not real. It's not provable. It's not something that you can actually demonstrate or trust. And for that reason, I wish it were different, really. I wish it were different. And for that reason, I guess there's some level of, not jealousy, but I wish I didn't have to worry about all of the things that Christianity has kind of finger waved away or hand waved away. I wish I didn't have to worry about all the things that Christianity's kind of hand waved away. All of the things that they've supposedly come up with solutions for. Now, those solutions are fake, of course, unfortunately. But if I could convince myself that this was real, then I would. I simply can't. That's the only reason that I would rather be a Christian than anything else. That's the only reason I'd rather be religious than anything else. In all seriousness, there is no truth value to it. To any of it, as far as I can tell. It's all made up. It's all garbage. It always has been since the dawn of time.
The atheists come there or go there to try to influence the devil instead of God. Why are they jealous?
There is no devil.
But they have a statue of what they believe is Satan. If they don't
that's not
believe
what
that
they
there is a
believe. That is the
Satan, why would
symbolic
they have symbols or statues of the devil if they don't believe there would be nothing there if they didn't believe that the devil existed?
Again, you're conflating atheists and Satanists. Not all atheists are Satanists, and being Satanist really means no more than you just hold to the 7 tenets, which are ethical tenets, and they're better than the 10 commandments.
So why do they
by far.
have this image of Satan if they don't believe it?
He just explained that, but okay.
For the reason I just explained, that Satan is a symbolic character, and they use that in their activism for First Amendment defense.
But I still don't understand that. If you don't believe something exists, how are you going to come up with a symbolic symbol of something that's not even in your mind that's real? It's not even in existence.
It's a symbol. Like, we don't believe that Uncle Sam exists, yet we depict him all over the place if you're patriotic, right?
But Uncle Sam does exist. His name is Joe Biden now.
No, Uncle Sam and Joe Biden are not the same thing.
No, I'm
and
joking.
the president of the United States is not Uncle Sam and never was.
See, the problem is you can never tell if this guy really is joking or not. He plays an idiot on screen. Is he really an idiot? I don't know. But he plays an idiot seemingly intentionally in an effort to reaffirm white supremacy. It's just disturbing, man. He's a useful idiot for white supremacy.
He Grandpa Biden right now.
Uncle Sam was a symbolic character meant to represent the United States. That's why his initials are Uncle Sam.
But it
US.
still doesn't make
I didn't know that. You guys catch that? Uncle Sam's initials are US, Uncle Sam. That's super interesting. I had no idea. Learning something every day with this guy.
sense to me why these people are jealous of the Christians. And
They're
they,
not.
And they
Not
create
remotely.
Well,
To-
then
to
they
say that
always go and try to rule the Christians out by
No.
trying to overshadow them. And they bring this
Trying to root the Christians out by overshadowing them. What?
image,
No.
symbolic image of the devil.
No.
That doesn't make sense to me. If I don't
Because
believe
it's not
something
like that at all.
if I
You know, if something doesn't make sense to you, maybe ask yourself if it's real.
don't
not the
believe
least bit
something
like
that
that.
exists,
We are trying to help you. To say that we are jealous of you
You-
is to say that a doctor is jealous of cancer patients.
it may
It's not that-
be.
yeah, doctors don't help cancer patients because they want cancer.
Right. Doctor help
Okay.
cancer patients because they're on an ego trip.
No,
Whoa, okay. Now we're going down a bizarre road.
doctors do not help.
I can
cancer
prove
patients
that
because they're on
because if a cancer patient say, "Okay, Mr. Doctor or Miss Doctor, I don't want that medication for my cancer. I'm going over to this person and I'm gonna take some. I'm gonna take real stuff, come from the earth." That doctor
Okay,
would
so
get
then,
jealous.
then the doctor knows that that person is going to die from
No,
from
the doctor
malpractice.
get jealous and say, "No, you can't go to a natural doctor." What?
Okay. You know what medicine is called? I'm sorry, let me rephrase. You know what natural medicine is called when it's been proven to work? Medicine. It's just plain medicine. Aspirin was created from the bark of a tree. And it's dirt cheap and it's everywhere. Some natural remedies work, like aspirin. Other natural remedies are garbage, like homeopathic stuff. This is just, God, ridiculous, dude.
No, it
I'm
has
the
nothing to do
hero
with
here.
Jealousy.
Yeah, that's jealousy. And so
No,
you,
it is not jealousy. If you tell me that you have a magic amulet, and that will, or a ring, and that because you wear this ring, that the ring wards off tigers, and then you go out in the front yard and show that there are no tigers in your, where in Detroit or whatever, well, that doesn't mean the ring works.
But I'm not
So-
going to have a symbolic of anything that I don't believe in. If I don't believe it exists, how do I even come up with a symbol?
Oh, God. Just, this guy is dumb as dog shit and simplistic, and everything he says is nonsense. But his audience loves it. It just blows my mind that anybody would believe the garbage out of this guy's mouth, really.
So you come up with a symbol, like when they established the United States, they created this character, Uncle
But these
Sam,
people create the devil while they're saying the devil doesn't
because it's a
exist.
symbol.
Let me ask you this. You said that prayer, you used to pray, I guess, and prayer never worked. What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, you're talking to yourself. You don't have magic powers,
Right, exactly.
so prayer doesn't work.
And so,
You know, there have been plenty of studies to determine if prayer really does work or not. And the studies determined that prayer works at about the rate of random chance, which is an indication that it doesn't work. Simple as that. If God's real, he's not taking an active part in our lives. He created us, and hell, maybe you can even believe that, you go somewhere when you die, somewhere special with family and friends or whatever. I don't know. But he's not changing his plan for you because you prayed for it. It's not happening, okay? Feel free to pray all you want. It's not changing your scenario. It's not. And I know that for a fact because the science shows it. It demonstrates it. But aside from that, I can't possibly believe that we live in a world where people like this guy exist and, God actually listens to him. Listen to this. This is from 2023. It's early February. This is Hank Kunneman.
Someone, you're watching me right now and you're like, man, I lost my keys. I can't find my keys. They're underneath the cushion.
This is a fucking joke, dude. Like, how can anybody take this guy seriously?
I'm serious. It's underneath the cushion. Go do it right now. And if you can, type it and tell people. I'm serious. It's underneath the cushion. You didn't even know that it was there, but it fell out.
This is a meme. Like, people make fun of televangelists for claiming God helped them find their car keys. And he is actually the embodiment of the meme right now.
It's underneath your cushion. And I say that not only will you find those keys, but you're going to find the keys that are going to unlock a new season for you this season and for your...
So God spoke to Hank Kunneman and told him that some random person on the live stream is missing their keys and they're under their cushion. It's a fucking joke, man. I'm telling you, it's a joke. These people are a joke, straight up. I cannot take them seriously. So... yeah, I'm sorry, man. If you tell me that God is, like, listening to you while you're looking for your keys or whatever, I can't believe you. It's nonsense. Straight up nonsense.
I don't know if you can, but can you name me one thing that you prayed to God about and it didn't work for you?
Well, I can name something that did, which I think will be...
Can you name something that didn't work?
Yeah, I'll name something that did.
I love this. Jesse Lee Peterson is obstinately refusing to understand, and Aron Ra is going to continue to double down on this and refuse to let him refuse to understand.
How about something that didn't?
I know, and I'm going to name something that did. When I was 12 years old and I started reading the Bible,
I love it.
Soon threw it across the room in disgust because I was lied to about what the Bible is. I was told that the Bible was the word of God, that it was the absolute truth, that God is love and God is wisdom and all of that. And you don't have to get very far into the Bible to realize that none of that is true. But I still believed in God. I could not believe in the Bible for obvious reasons. I mean, all you got to do is read the Bible to know that it's complete garbage. So I prayed to God, just like it says in Matthew, I think 10, or was it Matthew 6? But I prayed to God in the privacy of my own room so as not to be like the hypocrites.
That's from the book of Matthew when they show you the model prayer. It says, don't pray out loud out in the streets to show people how holy you are, like the hypocrites do. The hypocrites and the pagans, I think it says. The point is, don't be obnoxious and showy. I think that's kind of interesting, personally.
And I asked God to redeem himself, to either... he explained himself really to either show that the Bible was completely wrong about him or justify all of the horrible, ignorant stupidity that was being attributed to him in the Bible. And that answer, that prayer, I could say, was answered because over the course of the rest of my life, I have seen nothing but endless proof that the Bible is wrong.
And what proof? Can you give me an example of the proof to prove that is wrong?
Well, yeah, we know for certain that the global flood never happened. We've got all kinds of proof from every available.
And how do you know that for certain?
Because of geology. There's absolutely zero proof that the flood took place.
Because I've studied geology and archaeology and anthropology.
And why do you believe them?
Because you can go there and look yourself. You're not believing anybody or anything. You're looking at the proof and examining it yourself is what you're doing.
What's that?
Why do you believe them?
Because I have the proof for them.
Amazing. And so, so that's your proof that you prayed to God for something and it didn't work.
And it never works. I mean, as George Carlin put it, you pray to God and you will get the same success rate as if you pray to Joe Pesci. So there's the old phrase that the Lord only helps.
I mean, when you think about Aron Ra's story, that's actually pretty interesting. He asked for proof that God could, or some kind of redemption. Redeem yourself, God. Show me that you aren't this evil monster. And he waited his entire life for that, proof or evidence or whatever. And it was never forthcoming.
Those who helps themselves, because of course God doesn't ever actually do anything. You have to do it yourself.
Amazing. And so if you don't believe, you don't believe there is a God, and I totally understand why. You're very, very clear to me as to why you don't believe there is a God. But let me ask, if there is no God, how did you come about?
How much time do you have for an evolutionary lesson?
Not a lot at all.
Okay. I did a 50-part series on the systematic classification of life on my channel. Anybody that's interested in that can go look at that. If you want the origin of life, I've also done a series of videos that are talking about that as well.
Right, because the origin of life and the evolution of life are totally different things. One is called evolution, the other is called abiogenesis. And abiogenesis literally means the origins of life, if you translate it. So bio meaning life, genesis meaning beginning. Abiogenesis is what that means. So he's talking about the difference between the two here.
In covering dozens of different scientific studies for the different incremental stages of the development of life.
So how did you come about?
I just told you.
How did you cause yourself to breathe?
You and I both are descended from earlier apes who already breathe.
That's how you cause yourself to breathe?
You don't have to cause yourself to breathe. You're descended from beings that already breathe.
And so you think that you breathe breath until you start to breathe because when you were born into the earth through your mother, you gathered breath from that.
We have
Autonomic systems, I think is what he meant to say. Yeah.
ingrained responses that we have inherited for many generations in prior incarnations of very similar forms where we vary slightly from them each at every stage. I can teach you evolution, but it is complicated and it's long because there's an awful lot to it, but I can
Yeah, hell, give us the basics. You know, you can give people the basics, right? There are some main pillars to evolution, just generally how this works. You have gene duplication, mutation, and selection. So when you reproduce, your genes duplicate each other. And sometimes there's an error where they full-on make a copy of a gene that already exists and is completely unnecessary. They don't need to exist at all, right? That's gene duplication. And from time to time, when you reproduce, you get mutations that take place. Complete changes in the genes that were there before. Now, sometimes those mutations take place on genes that were not duplicated and are very necessary. And when that happens, you die. You suffer terribly. You get Down syndrome, for example, or some other illness or disease of different sorts that cause real problems for people in their lives. But sometimes it's super useful, or sometimes it's totally benign. It'll change your eye color. That's what gene duplication and gene mutations do. And those genes are propagated through selection. Natural selection, artificial selection, sexual selection, there are a number of them. They are spread throughout a population through selection of various types. Those are the three pillars of evolution. That's how it works. It's pretty straightforward. It can get a lot more complicated than that, but it doesn't have to be. You can go with a super basic explanation.
teach it to you. I probably can't explain it to you if you have absolutely no idea. If the questions you're asking me now reveal that you have absolutely no idea what you're talking about, but I could explain this to you and it would just take time.
You're right. It's an objective question. There's an objective answer to this. He's asking questions like, how do you know that, how did you make yourself breathe or whatever? There are objective, actual, real answers to these questions, and he isn't looking for an objective, honest answer, unfortunately. He's looking for a gotcha moment.
Like taking a college course. So
Amazing.
It's not something I can explain very, very quickly. It's not something I can explain in just a couple of minutes.
Have you, over your time of doing what you're doing, have you convinced a lot of Christians that they shouldn't be Christians? That there is
Yes,
no God?
That would be like the cardinal sin, I guess, in his eyes, right?
Yes, I get frequent messages in various sources from believers, at least one or two a week, up to one a day, from former believers thanking me for having walked them out of their delusion.
Amazing.
And also for altering their lives. I mean, I've had a number of people who tell me that because of my video lessons and whatnot, they've decided to take up science, or they're now pursuing science as a career, something like that.
How do you feel about that?
Like that?
How do you feel about that?
I'm delighted. I mean,
That you turn people away from God. How do you feel about that?
If I've pulled somebody away from a lie, if I've cured someone of a poisonous, dangerous, misleading delusion, then I am delighted, because that is all God is.
So you celebrate turning people away from God?
I celebrate curing people of their poisonous delusions. Yes.
I understand that. I understand why you would celebrate that. But let me ask, when you are afraid, because you become afraid sometime inside, or you feel lonely, or you feel like something is missing.
You know, I found this particularly interesting, this question. Just keep listening here.
What do you do about those moments when you're alone, no one is around, and you have to deal with you? How do you deal with those moments when you feel fear on the inside, or doubt, or whatever?
You know, I've realized, I know exactly what he's talking about right now. I've discovered that I don't feel those feelings now that I've left religion. You don't feel that unless you're being pushed into it by a religious group that wants you to feel guilty or fearful about something. It just doesn't happen, doesn't exist. That's really interesting, right?
Those empty moments, how do you deal with that?
Don't know that I have those moments.
You never have empty moments?
I don't even know what an empty moment means.
Do you ever have fear moments from within?
I did. I had this stuff. Maybe Aron Ra didn't, because he wasn't religious for most of his life. But I had this stuff. Not since I left religion behind, though. Isn't that interesting?
I don't know what you mean.
Do you love the
Are you-
Christians?
What's that?
Do you love the Christians?
Once again, I'm sure that doctors treat patients because they care for their patients. You think they don't. You think doctors are only self-serving, and the only reason they want to cure patients is to make money out of it.
Yeah, to
I'm
make
sure that
money and be
people go to-
glorified
my
for it.
daughter, my daughter is pursuing a medical career, and it is because she cares about other people.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so you're going to tell me that my daughter is just you don't know how to hold a conversation very well if all you're going to do is insult your guests and their families.
How am I insulted? I'm disagreeing.
How are you insulting? By telling me that my daughter is a liar and that she doesn't actually care about people. You don't know how that's insulting.
No, I don't.
Okay. Well, I wish somebody had, your mother, your father, Mr. Rogers, or somebody else taught you some basic manners like I learned when I was a kid.
Do you love the Christians?
Once again, I love people. And if those people are infested with a lie that is counterproductive and destroying them, yes, I will help them as best I can so that they will be better people and thus not Christian anymore.
So I'm black and slow.
See, this is super racist, what he says here. I'm black and slow. It's wrong. He's implying that black people are slow by default. He is as racist as they come, honestly.
I want to know, do you love the Christians?
Once again, Christians are all people. I love people. And so I will help people. And whether they're afflicted with a poisonous religion, whether it be Christianity or Islam or Hinduism or whatever, I will do my best to help them out of that delusion.
And how about the
Really what he's asking is, do you like Christians or do you dislike Christians simply because they're Christian? He's going to pull the same trick with black people and white people in a little bit. He's going to say, do you like white people? And the implication is, do you like them because they're white, even though he doesn't come out and say that. He's a propagandist. I don't think he's slow, really. I'm not super sure. It's so hard to know for sure.
Christians, do you love them?
How many times do I have to answer yes in different ways?
But yes, I was looking for the yes or not different ways, but just the yes
well,
or
I
no.
want to make sure that people understand me, because if I just say yes, then it seems that I just don't love Christians, but I want people to understand that I love all people, and it doesn't matter if they have a delusion or not, or which delusion it is.
But I didn't.
Right, exactly. You love everybody, not Christians, not the black community, not the white community or whatever. You don't like or you don't love anybody for any specific reason. You just love everybody because they're human beings. It's a propaganda technique.
Ask about all people. I just
I
asked
know you
about the
didn't.
Christian.
I was clarifying with my answer.
You wrote a book called "We Are All Apes."
It seems like Aron Ra is starting to realize how insufferable and ridiculous this guy is.
That's correct.
Where's your proof that we are all apes?
Oh boy, here it comes.
What is an ape?
Right. What is an ape?
Right. An ape is any member of the taxonomic superfamily Hominoidea.
Amazing. Have you ever seen a human being turn into you ever seen an ape? Have you ever seen an ape turn into a human being?
Have I ever seen a dog turn into a dachshund?
No. Have you ever seen an ape turn into a human
Have
being?
I ever seen a car turn into a Corvette?
Can you hear me?
See, this is the guy's strategy. This is how he does it. He doubles and triples and quadruples down on the question, refuses to take any answer at all because he wants this to be a failure. So no matter what answer he gives, he asks a question that cannot be answered with a yes or a no. Obviously, this question is not like framed that way. So he asks a question that can't be answered with a yes or a no, and then he refuses any answer given. He says, "Can you hear me? Why aren't you answering the question?" He's literally answering it. He's actually answering the question. But he's framing it as though Aron Ra is trying to escape the question, when in reality, he's not. He is actually answering it, adequately even.
Yeah. Have I ever seen a shark turn into a fish?
I didn't ask about any of those things. I asked, when have you ever seen an ape turn into a human being?
I'm trying to illustrate the fallacy of your question.
How's that fallacy? You wrote that we're all ape. You must
And-
have.
and we are,
You
and that
must
book-
have at some point all these hundreds of
Right, the
thousands
proof
of
is in there.
years. At some
That
point,
book is-
you
that
would
book
have
is
seen
24
if
illustrated
an
pages long.
ape turned into a human being. Have you ever seen an ape turn into a human being?
There is literally no answer that he could give because this isn't a yes or a no question. It's not really structured that way. It seems like it is, but it's not. If you understand anything about how science works at all, you'll understand this is not a yes or a no question.
Once again, humans are apes in the same way that a duck is a bird. So if you ask me if I've ever seen a bird turn into a duck, that's kind of a stupid question. We're asking me
Because
if
I
I've
didn't
ever
ask
seen a
that.
duck.
I didn't ask
Okay,
that. I asked
did you ask?
I asked
Yeah.
you. Ask.
I don't. Is this like an inside joke with his audience or something?
Ask. Have you ever seen an ape turn into a human being?
This is actually a fun level, but I'm not going to play it. It's too long, and yeah.
That is a nonsense question
Why?
because it's like asking for a place halfway between Los Angeles and California.
No, it's not. I didn't ask about that.
I know. Well, you don't know what you asked.
I do know. You wrote
because-
this book called "We Are All Apes,"
And it gives
so
the proof
I'm
in the book.
asking, have you personally seen a human being, an ape, turn into a human being?
It would be impossible for a human being to be anything other than an ape for the same reason that it is impossible for a dachshund to be anything but a dog. Have you ever seen a dog turn into a dachshund?
Why are you running from that question?
I'm not. I'm answering
you're
the
running.
question.
Like I said, it's a no-win situation, and it's intentional. The way that he does it is he's going to continue asking this question no matter what, whether he gets a valid answer or not, and he already did.
illustrating.
No,
what's
you're
wrong with the
running.
question.
You're running from that question. You wrote this book
I
that
am
we are
facing
apes.
you head on, answering your question directly.
No, you're not.
Humans are a subset of the category of apes.
I didn't ask you that.
We
I
start
asked
out
you
apes.
how
we
have
can't. So therefore, it makes no sense to ask how the parent category turns into the subcategory. It is exactly the same as asking if I've ever seen a bird turn into a duck. Do you understand why your question? Have you ever seen a bird turn into a duck? How about I ask
But
you
that
question?
wasn't the question.
But that's the same question, isn't it?
You wrote
see
the book saying
same
we
fallacy.
are. You tried to
Can a
divert.
duck? Can
You
a
tried to
duck
deviate
not,
from
can
the
a,
question.
Can a
You
duck
wrote a
not be a
book
bird?
called "We Are All Apes,"
Can
and
a
so
duck
how
not be a
how
bird?
can you write a book that says we're all ape when you
Just
never
like
seen a ape turn into a human being?
have you ever seen a duck turn into a? Have you ever seen a bird turn into a duck? Or
Why are you
vice
dodging
versa?
the question, man?
I'm not dodging the question. I'm answering it.
No, you're not.
Can
It's like
a
when I
duck?
asked you if you love a Christian, you went
I
all
answered
around.
that question.
I asked you where you going. You tell me where you been.
This sounds deep. It sounds like it's a meaningful thing to say. I ask you where you're going. You tell me where you've been. That doesn't make any sense, actually, in this context. What's he even talking about? What does he mean? In what way did Aron Ra tell him where he's been? That's a nonsensical statement to make in this situation.
And I answered your question directly.
No, you didn't. You're not answering
Yes,
this
I
one.
did.
So one
You don't
more time
understand
with
what
that,
the
and then
word
we have to
ape
move on.
means. You don't
Have
understand
you
what the
ever
word
seen
ape
an
means. That's
ape?
why I'm trying to explain it to you.
Have you ever seen an ape turn into a human being?
Okay, let's look at that. What does the word ape mean? That means a bipedal hominoid with a certain number of hair follicles, with a certain type of teeth, with fingerprints and fingernails. That means all of these descriptive features that we share. Have I ever seen us turn into us?
You just use the words, but you're not making sense because I do
know,
want to
because
know.
you don't know anything at all about taxonomy
Okay.
whatsoever.
Uh,
So how can I
so you're
explain
not able to
taxonomy
answer that
somebody
question.
who doesn't know anything about it?
So
you
you're not
understand that the
able
word
to answer
ape-
that question. I
Do you
want to do
understand
a
that the word
follow-up.
ape? Do you understand that the word ape is a taxonomic question, right? That's a taxonomic word. Do you understand what it means?
No, that's not the question, though. You're deviating.
He doesn't understand anything, and it doesn't matter. He's going to propagandize. This is propaganda.
No, I'm not deviating. What
Now,
does the word
if you
ape
can
mean?
prove to me that you've seen a ape turn
What
into a human
does the
being,
word
that
ape mean?
word can mean many things. But let me ask
Yeah,
you this.
but this word means one thing. What does it mean?
I have no idea.
It means any member of the taxonomic set superfamily Hominoidea, which means that it has a number of these characteristics: fingernails and fingerprints, the certain type of dentition that we have, the certain type of ears that we have, all of these characteristics, the two pectoral mammae, et cetera. There's a whole long list of different physical characteristics that define what an ape is.
Okay,
So
fine.
when
I don't
you
care
ask
about
me-
the humanity, but what I
know
do
you don't
want to
care what the
know,
words mean.
I do want to know if you
So
ever
you
seen
want to
an
ask
ape.
me a nonsense question.
I want to
and
know, have
cannot
you ever seen
understand-
an ape turn into a human being? After all these years, you would have think that somebody, somewhere, somehow, would have seen an ape turn into a human being, and
What if it happened a long time ago?
no one has ever seen that.
Except that you're asking a question that makes no sense.
Even the
I'm trying
people
to
books
explain
that
to
you have read and the folks that you listen to
Okay. Are
have
we
never
done here?
have never seen that.
Are
So-
we done here? Because you're not going to listen to my explanation. You're asking me a
Because you're not
stupid
answering my question.
I am answering your
You're
question.
going
You're just
around
don't-
my
you don't understand
question.
what it means.
You're going around my question. You're not answering my question.
Like, you know, Aron Ra is very knowledgeable about this subject. He could probably go to a biology class or a biology, a college that teaches biology and test out of it. I would be willing to bet he could test out of an awful lot of biology classes and stuff. He's very, very knowledgeable about this stuff. And he's sitting here in front of somebody who doesn't know any of this information. This guy could ask Aron Ra an awful lot and get, detailed explanations. He has any questions about how this stuff works, he could get the answers to it if he wanted. And instead of getting the answers through Aron Ra, he's propagandizing and twisting things around and refusing to, even think about any of the answers or the questions that he's asking. It's ridiculous and sad, man. It's like Donald Trump. The dude is influential and rich enough, Donald Trump is, that he could if he has any question at all, any question in the world, he could find an expert that would give him the answers. He'd just call anybody up at any point in time, and they sit down with him, Indian style, on the floor, the way we used to in kindergarten. He would sit down with them, and they would explain the answer to him, no matter what it was. literally anything in the world, even classified stuff, experts would come in and sit down and explain it. But does he do that? Of course not. He doesn't want answers. He doesn't give a shit. It's like, God, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like, it's so heartbreakingly sad. It's an outrage almost that people like Trump or this guy here, like Jesse Lee Peterson, have the opportunity to get these answers and don't take it.
I did not go around your question.
You
I
did. I
bludgeoned
asked
into
you,
it.
have you ever seen an ape turn into a human being?
You don't know what the word ape means.
I
Why
don't
you
care about the word.
clarify?
I do know what it means. I'm asking
Okay,
you.
then tell me, what does the word ape mean?
I asked you, have you ever seen
You
an
said
ape
you
turn
know.
into a human
You're
being?
using these words. I want to know what you think these words mean, because I know what the words mean.
The one thing
And
I know for sure,
Yeah, I know for sure what
I
the
know
words mean.
for
and I can
sure
prove, and I can prove what
that
the words mean. But you may be
and
using
no
them
one has
incorrectly, and I
ever
think you are
seen
using them incorrectly.
you and
So
those
what does the word ape mean to
you and those people who are claiming that apes turn into human being or human being
I
came
don't
from
claim
apes.
that apes turn into
No.
human beings. We are.
That-
This is kind of the first pushback that Jesse Lee Peterson has offered this whole time, and I'm kind of surprised he offered any, but, you know, his audience is probably going to get annoyed by it if he didn't offer any pushback at all.
Human
Apes.
being came from apes.
A
Have
human,
no
a
proof
human
of that
being can't be
at
anything
all.
other than an ape. We
Hey,
are classified as apes.
You're not listening.
Oh no, you're not listening.
No, you're not listening.
Okay.
See, he flips it around on people. This is very intentional. He knows exactly what he's doing.
All right. So is that where we're going to be here?
No.
Are we done?
No.
You either learn how to have the communication both ways, or we're done here.
You have to learn how to answer a question.
I did answer the
No,
question.
you didn't.
Yes, I did. I
No,
explained
you
to you
did
why
not
the
answer
question
the
makes
question.
no sense.
Let me
I
ask.
explained to you why the question makes no sense. Have you ever seen a bird turn into a duck? Does that question make any sense to you?
Right, just like, have you ever seen a ape
Do you
turn into a
understand that all
human?
birds are
It's
ducks? I mean,
as
excuse me,
dumb
do you
as
understand that
that.
Do you understand that ducks are birds?
That question is as dumb as the question about apes.
What you asked
You
me is a
believe
dumbass
that
question. I'm
apes
trying to
turned
show you
into-
how dumbass it is. Do you understand that ducks
Did you say
are
dumb
birds?
ass?
Do you understand that ducks are
Did you
birds?
say dumb ass? What the?
Yes.
Let me
Do
ask
you
you
understand
this.
that ducks are birds?
You believe in evolution, right?
I don't believe in it. No, I can show it, demonstrate it, prove it even to you.
Evolution is not something you believe in. It's something you accept or you reject because it's a statement of fact. God is something that you believe in. Love, something you believe in. Do you believe in love after or life? Wait, what? Life after love? Is that the Cher song? What's the Cher song? Do you believe in love after something or other, or some variation of that? Dude, did I just go in a big fucking circle? The fuck am I doing in this level? Anyway, love is something you believe in. God is something you believe in. Evolution is something you accept or you don't accept.
Do you understand that ducks are birds?
Why do you believe in evolution
Because I can prove it
if no
even
one
to
has
you.
ever seen it?
But we have seen it.
No, you
Yes,
haven't.
We've relied on it throughout the entire history of.
No.
We have seen it. I know it doesn't really make a lot of sense unless you're like well informed on this, but evolution seems like something that you wouldn't be able to see, right? Because it takes place over such a long period of time. But we have actually seen evolution take place. The thing you need is really short generations. So E. coli bacteria reproduces in, I think, 6 hours? Okay, hang on. It says that a generation of time of E. coli at optimal condition amount to 20 minutes. So actually, it's even shorter than I thought, interestingly enough. So you can reproduce E. coli rapidly and look at the changes that take place in the E. coli bacteria, and you can kind of guide its evolution. Honestly, you know, people do this with viruses all the time. They watch the direction that they evolve, basically, to come up with the next vaccine that they need. Like, they watch the direction the flu virus goes when evolving. This is guided evolution, is what we're talking about. And this is the thing that Marjorie Taylor Greene refuses to accept is real because evolution isn't real. So, yeah. We can actually watch this happen. Absolutely. And we watch it happen on a regular basis. This happens in labs across the country.
What has
Culture,
ever seen
it
it?
is demonstrated fact. We can observe it. We can test it, verify it numerous ways. I can prove that even to you.
So
Now,
why
get back
is
to my question
evolution?
so that you can understand this?
Why is
Do
evolution
you
still?
understand?
Why
do you
is
understand that
evolution just a theory even today?
A theory is a scientific framework that is pretty much flawless. Theory is like the graduation point for anything. You want to be a theory. If you are like a scientific idea, you want to be a theory, for sure. People colloquially use the word theory when they actually mean hypothesis rather than theory. He thinks that evolution is a hypothesis, not a theory. It's actually the graduation point, just like the theory of gravity or the theory or cell theory or germ theory of disease. Like, these things are not in question.
Why is it that atomic theory is just a
See,
theory
you're not
today?
answering the question. You're asking
I
the
am.
question with
I'm
another
explaining to you
crazy
what's the
question.
problem. Why is it the theory of gravity is just a theory today? You know
Why is evolution still considered a theory?
For the same reason that atomic theory is still considered a theory, for the same reason that the theory of gravity is still a theory, for the same reason that the germ theory of disease is still a theory.
So
for the same
because
reason
it
that
can't
the cell
be
theory of
proven to be
biology is
real.
theory.
That's incorrect. He's mixing up theory and hypothesis because people colloquially use the word theory when what they mean is hypothesis.
Because there is a rule in science that we want to go the complete opposite direction of religion, and rather than assert things to be true that are not true, we are not allowed to proclaim absolute truth. So everything that we know to be true has to be regarded as a theory, on the hypothetical potential, at least, that something could be improved or changed later on.
That's amazing.
There is a rule.
Because of time, let me ask you this.
There is a rule in science that you cannot prove.
You're talking
if there is
theory.
a rule in science. I'm answering your question. You
But
won't
you're
let me
talking
answer it.
theory.
I'm answering the question, and you won't let me answer it. There is a rule in science that says that you cannot prove any theory to be true in the positive sense. At most, the most you can do is show that
I
it's
know
not true.
scientists who have proved that God exists, and I know
No, you
those
don't.
who are against God, and they
No, you
think
don't.
that God doesn't exist.
No, you don't.
But let me ask
No,
you,
you
because
don't.
of time.
You don't know.
I
You
do
don't know
know.
any scientists
I
proves-
know
no,
scientists
Dude, I love it.
who
don't.
have proved that God
No,
exists.
You don't.
I do.
No.
No, he doesn't. God is not. It's not possible to prove that God is real, or that he exists, or whatever. It's not possible to do. It's what we call a non-falsifiable claim. It's like the claim that you have a dragon in your basement or whatever, and you say, okay, well, I should be able to go to your basement and see it, right? Well, it's invisible. Okay, well, if we just sprinkle some baby powder on the floor, we should be able to find it, right? Well, it floats in the air, too, whenever it wants, so. Okay, well, it's got to eat sometime, so we'll put some food out there for it to eat, right? Well, it jumps into other dimensions and eats food elsewhere, so yeah, there's that. It's non-falsifiable. There's always an explanation for why we can't see it or we can't prove that it's there. That's the problem, really, with the existence of God, which is fine. You want to believe it anyway. That's okay. But that's basically the corner that people have backed God into at this point. They come up with all these explanations for why it's impossible to see him or whatever, rather than just accepting that there's no proof that he's out there.
You
Yes.
don't. Then where is their Nobel Prize? Why have I not heard of them? Why are there still atheists? Why is the majority of the scientific community still atheist?
Because
if
the Nobel
some
Prize
scientist had ever
people.
proved that God existed, then we would all know that God exists, right? But we don't. Nobody knows that
Oh
God
yes,
exists.
but let me ask.
That's why there are more and more scientists every year who are atheists, who are walking away from their faith. Atheism is on the rise in all 50 states and around the world, while Christianity is in a general state of decline.
The reason that
everywhere.
there are
In
Nobel
the last 20 years, atheism has eclipsed Judaism, then Catholicism, and now even Protestantism. Yes, there are less, and that's just in the regular community. In the scientific community, there's only a third of people who still believe in God in any concept at all. So no, you don't know.
Oh
any
yeah.
scientist.
Yes,
who
I do.
proved, and you can't
And you-
show
let me-
Look, if there were any scientists or if there's any evidence or proof of any sort, that God was real, it would be all over the Templeton Foundation's website or Ken Ham's Creationists website or whatever it is. It would be all over everything. You know, he wants to claim that there's like a, what do you call it, like a conspiracy to cover this stuff up. Okay, great. But they can't cover everything up everywhere. And, he knows, Jesse Lee Peterson knows that the proof would absolutely be all over everybody's websites and, classrooms and everything else. There is no proof on their website. No proof. You know what it does say on their websites and their everything? It says you have to have faith. And that's okay. You want to have faith? Fine. That's fine with me. You can have faith. Perfectly okay. But don't tell me that there is proof. That's ridiculous.
Let me say this to you. You asked why there are no Nobel Peace
All right, I
Prize
think we're
for.
done. If all you're going to do is lie to me,
You asked why there are
and
Nobel Peace.
and that's apparently all you're going to do.
You
then
asked
we
why
can't
aren't
have
there
a
any
meaningful conversation.
You asked why are there any Nobel Peace Prize for the scientists who have proven God exists?
That's not what
because
I said
the
at
people
all.
who
I
hand
said,
out
I called you
the-
out. You
the
told
people-
a lie.
The people
You
who
said that there were
hold
scientists
on.
who proved that
Hold
God
on.
exists.
Satan, hold on.
There is no scientist. There is no. that
Satan,
has-
get behind me.
no.
Hold on.
Satan, get behind me, he says. Wow, man. Just ridiculous, honestly, and sad.
No scientist has ever done that.
If
If that had happened,
let me say
there would
this to
be
you.
buckets of documentation.
Let me
for
say
it.
that the reason
scientist
that
would have gotten the Nobel Prize and the Templeton Prize. They'd be world
All right,
famous.
fine. The reason that the scientists who prove that God
There is no science to
exists
prove God exists.
doesn't get the Nobel Peace Prize because of the people who
So the reason he doesn't get the Nobel Peace Prize is because
handed out the Nobel Peace Prize of their father, the devil. So they hate the
so they're tricking everybody. They're lying to them. They really do know that the Nobel Peace Prize people really know that God is real, and they're of the devil. Basically, is what he's saying here. That's completely absurd. Like, give me a break. Like I said, we don't need the Nobel Peace Prize to prove that God is real. Like, we can just look at the Templeton Foundation's website, and just like that, it would be all over the place if he was real. All over the place. All over their websites. And so would proof of the Nobel Peace Prize is fraud or whatever. It would be all over their websites, and it's nowhere to be found. You know what is there? Take it on faith. Believe. Trust. There's no proof presented.
children
There
of
is
God.
no devil either. Okay, I think we're done here.
No, we not quite yet. Almost. Are you into politics at all?
Yes.
Did you vote for the Great White Hope?
Right. The Great White Hope is a reference to Donald Trump. Now, it's actually a callback to an old movie. I don't know if you've heard of this, but it was during a time when racism was absolutely rampant and segregation was still a part of U.S. society. There's a black boxer that was just burning through, all his competition. All of his white competition kept losing to him. And the movie was about finding the Great White Hope, the white boxer who could take this black guy out, basically. It was like a deeply racist, disgusting, idea presented. And he calls Donald Trump the Great White Hope. What is wrong with him?
I vote for the Great White Hope. I don't know that there is a Great White Hope.
Have you
I
ever
voted
heard of
against
Donald
the greater
Trump?
evil.
You heard of Donald Trump?
I voted against the greater evil.
Did you vote against?
ISIS has spread like cancer. Another mess I inherited.
That's the Great White
The crime boss whose figure you're holding up now, that's the one I voted against.
Wow. I noticed that atheists tend to lean more toward the left more than toward the right. Why is that?
That's not true for a lot of cases, I'm sorry to
I
say.
said most, not all, but why is that?
I don't know that that's accurate. Are atheists more left than right? I guess maybe, but I know a lot of right-wing atheists, weirdly.
Because a lot of us care more about truth than others, and that's that.
But the left is of the lie.
What's that?
The left is of the lie. They're of their father,
Excuse
the
me,
devil.
no, that itself, what you just said, is a lie.
Why is that?
Because it's documented false. It's factually
I have
false.
proof. Why would
You
a
don't have
man
proof.
that is left like you try to turn anyone away from God? If you don't believe that there
You have
is a
said all
God,
these things.
you
You
work
keep-
all
you-
the time to turn
You
people
keep
away
saying
from
things
God.
that are nonsense. You keep making assertions that are factually false.
You
keep
said
telling
you
me
have helped.
things about myself that are wrong.
You
told me
said that
things
you have
I-
helped Christians, those who
No,
believe in
no,
God,
okay.
turn away from Him.
All right. What would you like me to do?
I
Would you
gotta
like me to
put-
just sit here and let you lie to me?
No, I got to put you on the hot seat. I need you to answer
Okay.
these questions as quickly as
I,
possible.
God, this is such a ridiculous interview, right?
you won't let me answer questions because you don't understand what stupid questions you're asking and how the question contradicts itself.
Right, just watch
don't
me.
understand
Then
why
write
it's
me off as
nonsense.
black and slow. But I need you to.
See, again, this is the black and slow thing. He is actively being racist when he does this. If he believes that he is slow, okay, you know, that's your own personal assessment of your own abilities, whatever. But to say black and slow like that is just deeply wrong, and he knows that.
Answer these questions as quickly as possible, all right?
I don't know why I should entertain you anymore, but go ahead.
So apparently it has this segment called the hot seat, and it's like lightning round questions, basically.
Do you love white people?
I don't distinguish white. There are white people that I love, yes.
What
But that doesn't mean that I love people because they are white.
What comes first, the chicken or the egg?
The egg came long before chickens.
That's interesting, right? That's true. The egg did come long before chickens. So that's a good answer. That's pretty funny. By the by, apparently, according to my wife, American Atheists has a secular survey that determined that most atheists have views that align with progressive values such as LGBT acceptance, pro-abortion, strong public educational system, that kind of thing. And that does make sense because a lot of that stuff was pushed by the religious right. Like being anti-abortion or pro-life, quote unquote, isn't really like a religious issue, but they turned it into a religious issue. The right did. It's like a religious mandate now, basically. It's really weird. So, anyways, it would make sense that once religion has no impact on your beliefs, you know, you kind of walk away from a lot of this stuff. But for what it's worth, Christopher Hitchens was pro-life. He was pro-Iraq war. There are a lot of right-wing atheists out there, weirdly. Libertarian types and stuff. Let's step back just a little bit. Listen to this again. The hot seat questions.
First, the chicken or the egg?
The egg came long before chickens.
Does the bear shit in the woods?
Some of them.
Did you take the jab?
What's the jab?
He doesn't know what the jab is, really? I personally call it the Fauci ouchie. That's just me.
Is white supremacy real?
Is white supremacy real? You mean the movement for white supremacy? Do white supremacists exist?
Is white
Yes,
supremacy
there are that sort of
supremacy
bigoted
real?
person.
He is a white supremacist. Jesse Lee Peterson is a white supremacist. So yes.
Is white
There are that sort of
supremacy
bigoted
real?
person really does exist. Yes.
I'm sorry?
You asked if white supremacy is real.
Right.
If that means, do white supremacist people who think that they are superior simply because they're white? Yes, such stupid people really do exist, I'm sorry to say.
Do you agree that abortion is worse than slavery?
What? Abortion worse than slavery?
No.
Is black supremacy real?
For this answer, this is what he's doing. This is how propaganda works. I wonder if Jesse Lee Peterson has somebody else writing these questions for him. I don't know. But he's trying to conflate the two. He's trying to make it out like white supremacy and black supremacy are exactly the same. There are nutter butters on each side of the aisle. There are people who have bizarre beliefs no matter what, no matter where you are or who you are or whatever else. White supremacy is overtaking the United States. So is black supremacy something that we should worry about? Is black supremacy? No. Is white supremacy something we should worry about? Yes. I'm not going to feed into this fake false equivalence thing that's happening right now. But let's see how Aron Ra answers. He says, yes, white supremacy is real.
Again, I don't know what black supremacy is, so you're going to have to clarify what you mean by those terms.
But how do you know what white supremacy is but not know what black supremacy is?
I had to assume that by that you meant, do white supremacists exist? Yes, the Christian nationalists are mostly white supremacists.
Yeah, absolutely. And he is a white supremacist. Jesse Lee Peterson is, so 100%. Are there black supremacists? Yeah, but they have no political power of any sort. For all intents and purposes, they have no effect on society, and they exist in these weird little groups off in the middle of nowhere. And that's about as far as it goes. There is no widespread white or black supremacist sentiment throughout society.
Do black supremacy exist?
I don't know what black supremacy is, but if
Amazing.
you're talking about, if I'm going to use an evolutionary term, then no, it doesn't exist, because as Darwin wrote himself, there is no subset of any species that is superior to the other. There literally is no race superior to another. He also wrote.
Where's Darwin now?
But I don't know what that has to do with anything.
Darwin also wrote that there is only one human race.
Where's Darwin now?
Where is Darwin now? He's dead.
He dead. Is America the best country on this side of heaven?
There is no heaven. So if we can just say that the United States has some things going for it, or it did, but not so much anymore.
Is America the best country on this side of heaven?
He just answered that question. He answered it. No.
I definitely can't say that the United States is the best country in the world anymore.
Is America the best country on this side of heaven?
He just said it. See, this is what he does. He answers the question, and he refuses to accept the answer every single time.
There's no heaven, so that question makes no sense.
Is the earth flat or round?
Oblate spheroid.
True or false? Feminists have never done anything good for women. True or false?
False.
Who is more evil, Nancy Pelosi, Hillary Clinton, or Kamala Harris?
See, he wants this to be a gotcha against his guests. It's not. Like, nobody on the left worships these people. These people are not like, they're not like Donald Trump in that people on the right love them to death and would do anything for them. It doesn't work that way. People on the left have no problem giving an answer to this question. I think my answer, which is worse, Kamala Harris, Nancy Pelosi, Hillary Clinton. Honestly, I would say Pelosi, I think. Because, I don't know. Yeah, I would say Pelosi.
I'm going to say Hillary Clinton.
I would say Pelosi because I think Clinton is a lot more intelligent than people give her credit for. A lot more intelligent. I think Pelosi is intelligent too, but I think she's just kind of run-of-the-mill intelligent, like just a normal kind of person or whatever. And she's also pretty far right. I think Hillary isn't quite as far right as Pelosi. And she's also, Hillary Clinton, people underestimate how smart she is. Holy shit, dude.
Did the cow eat the cabbage?
What are you talking about?
I don't know this reference at all. I feel like he's doing an inside joke right now.
Can men get pregnant?
What is the cow and the cabbage about? Is that a myth I'm supposed to be aware of?
Yes.
I'm not.
Can men get pregnant?
Under normal circumstances, no.
Okay, I mean, that's a fair answer, I would say, right? This is 5 months ago, so this is right in the middle of a culture war battle. I mean, the culture war battle seems to kind of be ramping up right now, so not getting any better. But, yeah, that was an interesting answer.
Did you have fun?
I've had lots of fun.
Thank you for joining me, man.
Okay. Something tells me that he was not answering, did you have fun on this show? I think he's answering, have you had fun in your life before? That's pretty funny. Anyway, okay. Look at this Straight fucking face. I love it, dude.
I've had lots of fun.
Thank you for joining me, man. I appreciate it. And thanks for taking on the hot seat. Tell the people how to get your videos, to your YouTube channel, and all the things that you're doing.
All right, thank you. My blog and such are at aronra.com. That's ARONRA. And of course, everything that I do is funded by Patreon, which is patreon.com/ARONRA.
Well, thank you again for joining us. And thank you all for tuning in. I absolutely appreciate it. Don't forget to like, follow, tweet, subscribe, ring the bell. Check out our merch, amazing merch.
Yeah, so anyway, that was the debate. I was actually really interested in that. And somebody in the comments here, or in the live chat, says, Aron should have more self-respect. Don't subject yourself to these clowns. You are worth way more, says Kay. That's an interesting point you make. I disagree with it, and let me tell you why I disagree, okay? So this was 5 months ago when this happened, when this debate or whatever took place, right? This is 5 months ago when this took place, and now the guy has 50,000 likes. 50,000 likes! This isn't views. This is likes on a Reddit post of him shredding Jesse Lee Peterson. 50,000. This is on r/facepalm. This is how I came across it in the first place. Here's another one. There was an attempt. And he's got 22,000 likes. Do you have any idea how many views that is? I mean, here, let me just look at one of my videos that has a roughly equivalent number of likes and see how many views that video has. Here, my top viewed video has 1.2 million views, and it has 41,000 likes. 41,000 likes. This Reddit post of Aron Ra has 47,000 likes. So he's got at least 1.5 million views on this video, probably, I would say. I mean, it doesn't translate one-to-one. It's not exact. But holy shit, this publicity is crazy, dude. That's why you subject yourself to these clowns. Because people like to hear this debate. They like to hear people talk about this stuff. Like, that's just crazy. That's a crazy number of views on that video. So, anyway. I think Aron Ra could have done better in responding to the question. Here's a highlighted message in the comments. Make it clear you don't understand your convo partner. I think what you're asking me is something like, have I seen with my own eyes a gorilla or a chimpanzee turn into a human? Am I right about that? Yes. 2, name the disagreement. When you say ape, you mean a gorilla or chimpanzee. When I say ape in my book, I don't mean a specific animal. I'm using it in the scientific sense, where it means a whole category of animals that includes humans, chimps, orangutans, etc. Humans are a kind of ape, like a parrot is a kind of bird. Yeah, so this comment would work if he were a good faith actor, if Jesse Lee Peterson were working in good faith. But we heard just a few minutes later the guy basically say, is there such a thing as white supremacy? Is there such a thing as black supremacy? An effort to conflate the two. And Aron Ra tried to add nuance to that. He doesn't allow it when nuance is when he tries to insert nuance into this. He doesn't accept it. He just repeats the question and says you're not answering. It's a propaganda method, not a method of getting to real truth. So this answer would work if Jesse Lee Peterson were operating in good faith and were looking for real answers. He wasn't. Anyway, yeah, really interesting debate, I thought. And those comparisons that Aron Ra gave were actually really interesting. Is a duck a bird? What's the distance between California and Los Angeles? Those were really interesting comparisons. Let's take a look at some of the comments in the video here. I was waiting for JLP to troll Aron. It's just too easy. Why the hell is this video so hard to find? This is 2 months ago. Either Jesse ate lead paint as a child or he's completely dishonest. Or both. I guess it could be both. Jesse's just exposing someone's soul. S-O-A-L. I don't know what that means exactly. It was good to hear explanations and reasoning of Satanist, singular Satanist. Appreciated the calm and collected vibe of this conversation. Okay, well, he must not have made it to the end. Lol, this is Jesse, idiot, being a professional heckler to his own logic, but hustle on genius, get your money. Wow, this man is so lost. Jesse is so piercing. I disagree with him a lot, but this man is highly intelligent and honest enough to put his agenda out there. What? Intelligent enough to know that apes and man are both apes? Guess not. I have shoes more intelligent than Jesse, says this person. Wow, man. I don't think the Bible mentions magic once. The only people that say there's magic in the Bible is atheist. Oh, God. And there's a big comment thread here between seemingly two people, or three maybe. There are a billion examples of magic taking place in the Bible. But let me know what you thought about it in the comments. I was fascinated by it.